It's almost noon, you've been awake for 2 hours, but you're still in bed scrolling. There's that guy from your class posting about his internship offer. There's your cousin getting into med school. There's your old friend launching a startup. And here you are, still in the same spot you were in 3 hours ago, on your 4th YouTube video about how successful people think, while you haven't even brushed your teeth yet. You know you're capable of more. You feel it, that frustration when you imagine what you could be doing instead of watching other people live their lives through a screen. But for some reason, you just can't get started. I'm not here to motivate you with empty, you can do it crap. I won't tell you to believe in yourself or find your passion. That's useless. Just give me 10 minutes. I will change everything about how you approach studying. But if you can't even commit 10 minutes to fixing your life, then this video isn't for you anyway. Just go back to mindlessly scrolling on Instagram. Great. You are still here, so we will start with what's exactly wrong with your brain, why you're stuck, and the exact strategy to fix it. Here's the truth. You're not lazy. You're overstimulated, and your brain is working exactly as it should, just in the wrong direction. Let's fix that. First, we need to understand the root cause of your laziness: dopamine overload. That phone in your hand is rewiring your brain against you. Every time you open TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube Shorts, you're flooding your brain with instant dopamine hits. But here's what most people get wrong. Dopamine isn't the pleasure chemical, it's the motivation chemical. It doesn't make you feel good, it makes you want things. When you constantly bombard your brain with these quick, easy rewards, your dopamine system gets completely fried. Suddenly, anything that takes effort, like studying for an exam, feels impossibly boring. Dr. Anna Lembke from Stanford calls this dopamine deficit state in her book Dopamine Nation. Your brain has adapted to such high levels of stimulation that normal activities feel unbearable. This isn't your fault. Your brain is doing exactly what it evolved to do: seek the highest reward for the lowest effort. But now you need to reset it. Here's what you need to do. First, commit to a 24-hour dopamine reset. One full day with no entertainment. No social media, no YouTube, no Netflix, no gaming. Just basic activities like reading, walking, or talking to people in person. This will feel uncomfortable. That's the point. You are resetting your baseline. Second, install hardcore blockers on your devices. I recommend Cold Turkey for PC and Digital Detox for mobile. These apps don't just hide distractions, they make them impossible to access. Third, make studying the most interesting option available. When all your dopamine triggers are blocked, even textbooks become relatively interesting. That's when real work happens. Remember, your brain isn't broken, it's just overstimulated. Reset it and you'll be shocked at how much easier it becomes to start working. The second technique is the 5-minute rule, and it's based on a cognitive behavioral therapy technique called behavioral activation. Here's the problem. Your brain massively overestimates how difficult and unpleasant studying will be. The thought of studying for 3 hours seems impossible, so you don't even start. But here's the secret that James Clear talks about in Atomic Habits. Motivation doesn't come before action. Action creates motivation. The 5-minute rule exploits this perfectly. Tell yourself, I'll just study for 5 minutes. After that, I can stop if I want to. This works because starting is almost always the hardest part. Your brain creates massive resistance before you begin, but once you're actually working, continuing isn't nearly as difficult. Research shows that in about 90% of cases, people continue working well beyond the initial 5 minutes. The momentum carries them forward. This isn't just pop psychology. This is the foundation of behavioral activation therapy used to treat even clinical depression. The principle is simple: action first, motivation second. The third technique is to study during your brain's peak performance, the first 3 hours after waking up. Most students make this mistake. They waste their best mental hours on Instagram, TikTok, and breakfast. Then try to study when their brain is already tired. Dr. Matthew Walker explains in his book Why We Sleep that your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for focus, willpower, and complex thinking, is strongest within the first few hours of waking up. Your willpower isn't infinite. It's a limited resource that depletes throughout the day. When you waste those prime morning hours on mindless scrolling, you're throwing away your biological advantage. Here's what to do instead. Put your phone in another room when you sleep. When you wake up, drink a full glass of water, then immediately open your books before checking any messages or social media. Don't waste these golden hours on emails, chores, or planning. Those tasks can be done later, when your focus naturally dips. Use your morning hours exclusively for deep, focused study. The fourth technique is to stop relying on willpower and start using environmental triggers instead. The Stanford Marshmallow Test from 1972 is famous for testing children's ability to delay gratification. But what most people don't know is the follow-up research which showed something fascinating. Self-control depends more on your environment than on your personality. Your willpower is limited, but your environment is completely within your control. Here's what to do. First, make productive behaviors obvious and easy. Keep your textbooks open on your desk. Have your notebook and pens visible and ready to use. Reduce the steps between intention and action. Second, make distractions invisible and difficult. Keep your phone in another room, not just face down on your desk. Delete social apps from your phone during exam season. Third, use different locations for different activities. Your brain forms powerful associations with physical spaces. If you always watch Netflix in bed, your brain will crave Netflix when you're in bed. If you always study at your desk, your brain will shift into focus mode when you sit there. Design your environment to work with your brain, not against it. The fifth technique is using implementation intentions, the most underrated study hack that almost nobody uses. Here's the problem. Vague plans never happen. I'll study later, or I need to work on chemistry this week, are essentially useless statements. Research by psychologist Peter Gollwitzer found that people who set specific implementation intentions like, I will do X at Y time in Z location, were 300% more likely to complete their tasks. Your brain treats vague plans as optional suggestions, but specific plans trigger automatic behavior. Your brain recognizes them like calendar events and prepares for them unconsciously. Here's what to do. Every night, write down this exact sentence structure. For example, tomorrow at 8:30 a.m., I will solve 10 calculus problems at my desk for 40 minutes. This forces you to make decisions in advance when your motivation and rational thinking are higher, rather than in the moment when emotions and distractions are stronger. Stop hoping you'll find time to study. Decide exactly when, where, and what you'll study in advance. The sixth technique is using friction to break your worst study blocking habits. Behavioral economists Thaler and Sunstein explain in their book Nudge that small obstacles, what they call friction, can dramatically change behavior without changing motivation. Here's the problem. Your bad habits are too easy to start. One tap opens TikTok. One click starts Netflix. Your brain naturally follows the path of least resistance, so make that path harder. Want to stop checking Instagram? Don't just promise yourself you'll use it less, log out of the app. Then change your password to something complex. Each step adds friction. Your lazy brain won't bother with these steps just to scroll for 5 minutes. Here's what to do. Identify your top 3 time-wasting activities. Add at least 3 steps between you and each activity. Put physical distance when possible. Use apps like Cold Turkey to block your biggest distractions during study hours. The beauty of this approach is that it doesn't require constant willpower. Set up the friction once, and your lazy brain will automatically choose easier activities like the studying materials you've made easily accessible. Your laziness can work for you when properly directed. If you found this helpful, hit subscribe for more brutally honest advice. Drop a comment with which technique you're going to implement first. But more importantly, close this video now and go study for just 5 minutes. That's how it begins.